Yeah.
Hello.
How's
Good
it going?
evening. I'm very well, thanks. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm fine. Thank you. How are you?
Oh, yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's good to finally catch up with you after all this time.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. How are you enjoying the summer?
It's good. Yeah, it always puts me in a good frame of mind. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think
What
we've all got a
about
bit
you?
of that seasonal affective.
Exactly.
I like to be where it's nice and sunny and warm.
Yeah.
So that's the aim.
Have you made any plans this year or
What to visit?
yeah, to travel this year or anything like that? Capture the
So
sun.
not outside of the UK this year, even though there might be something that I'm working on. But definitely next year.
Yeah.
With the family, we're going to take probably our first international trip as a family. So we'll see. We'll see. Yeah.
Ah, do you mean first ever or first since 2020?
First ever as a family internationally because we've been bits and bobs, but like all five because there's five of us, you see. So
Oh, okay.
yeah. So
Yeah.
looking forward to it.
Yeah. So how old is your youngest then?
Youngest is 7, and
Yeah,
then middle is 9, and then the oldest just became 11. He's going
yeah,
to school, high school in
yeah.
September, so we've got all that to look forward to. Yeah, I might need to be calling on your wisdom. 'Cause, yeah, it's a
Yeah,
whole new world, boy. It's a high school and growing and buses and all this kind of stuff. It's
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I've been there. I won't say I'm sorry to be past that. Also, no, no, did I get that wrong? I wanted to, you know what I mean. Anyway, I'm
Yeah,
glad
yeah,
you came before
yeah,
me. Yeah. So
yeah,
yeah.
forever.
Yeah, well, anyway, so here's us chatting, but if there's anyone watching, they have no idea who we are.
Yeah,
So I'd like to formally welcome you,
thank you.
and I really appreciate you coming because with the profession that you're in, I was actually hesitant to ask because I go, this man is busy. So I thought there's no way he's going to say yes. So
Yeah,
I thought,
yeah,
but
course.
let's
If I
let's
got time.
try anyway.
Yeah. Well,
So,
I
sorry, carry
no,
on.
no.
Yeah,
Once again, I appreciate the invite because it's like if I have the opportunity, then I like to get involved in things like this. So no, I appreciate the invite.
yeah,
Thank you so much for
yeah.
being here.
No, I definitely appreciate you being here. So, with that little hint, yeah, can you tell me tell everyone who you are
Yeah,
and what you do? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so my name is Ayo Olatoye. I am a husband, a father. I am a Christian. I'm a son. I'm a brother. I'm an uncle. As a hobby, I'm a consultant in acute medicine. Full time working in Merseyside. I am an entrepreneur, and I'm a coach, and I'm an author. So
Awesome.
just a few things.
So I'm going to roll it back slightly
Hit me.
because most people relate more closely to people's 9 to 5.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you can tell us a little bit more about your 9 to 5 and how long, what made you decide to take that profession, and what was your
To
journey
be a
like?
doctor. This is a really good question. So I wanted to be a doctor for so long. I don't actually remember why. So my mom was ill when I was 12, and I
Okay.
thought
Yeah.
that was the impetus. But then I remember a couple of years ago, I met a friend who I've known since primary school. And apparently I wanted to be a doctor since primary school. So I couldn't even tell you. I couldn't even tell you. So the interesting thing is, so because I had what I wanted to do, I didn't have the dilemma that most people had in terms of, oh, what GCSE should I choose? What A level should I choose? Because I had a clear goal. So I chose my subjects based on the destination. I want to be a doctor, so I have to do X, Y, and Z. So I never had that kind of the thing that a lot of people do in terms of coming to themselves. Oh, what do I want to do? It's not even necessarily that I even liked the subject, but it was clear in my mind that I want to be a doctor, and the route to get there is, science and chemistry. Interestingly, you have to do chemistry A level. You don't have to do biology, which I found really strange. Really strange.
Okay.
But yeah.
So just to roll it back slightly, so what age are you when you're this clear? Just to clarify that again. How old are you?
So all my life.
Wow.
I can't remember a time when I didn't want to be a doctor. And again, so I was born in Nigeria. I came to the UK when I was 5, and my friends from primary school said, "You've wanted to be a doctor since you were in primary school." So I can imagine it since I was 5. My earliest memories is me wanting to be a doctor.
So once you got into the profession, was it all you dreamed of? How did you find it?
So I'm sure you can tell by the laugh that maybe maybe the answer is no. So my roots to medicine, I don't know that we even have time for it on this podcast. My journey from the desire to achieving the goal was unconventional, long, and winding. When I became a doctor, I really appreciated it, and I love my job. I love it, but I think I really appreciate it because it took me more time and probably more effort than some other people took to get here. So, I think there's a lesson in that in terms of things that come easy, sometimes we don't appreciate. So
yeah. Oh, that's good. So how long have you been a doctor now?
So I've been qualified since 2008. Sometime.
Okay. And being a nosy person that I am, so how does that impact your family life? Because I have this perception that you're constantly busy. So how does that impact
so good question. So I think it depends on the kind of doctor that you are. So I am an acute medicine consultant. And to get here, I had to go through training. So often when people think about the arduous and the long hours, it's to do with the training to get to a certain level. There are lots of hours. But to be fair, most people are still doing a version of a 40-ish hour week. It just depends on how those hours are, displayed. So my colleagues who train in A&E, they might do, a shift a week where they do 4 p.m. to 4 a.m. shifts because A&E has to be staffed all the time. So the majority of the hospital doesn't have to be staffed. Most people who are doing like ward work are working 9 to 5, and then the hospital has to find somebody to take care of emergencies after 5, before 9, and at the weekend. So when we're on call, that is often either seeing patients that come in on the front door or taking care of people who are sick out of hours. Now, I work predominantly 9 to 5, and once a week I stay late and finish at like 8:39.
Okay. Oh, that's cool. So that being the case, then what made you start thinking about expressing the entrepreneurial side of yourself?
Good question. So on the 5th of June 2020, while at work, I started to have some funny symptoms of like pins and needles down my left side. And to cut a long story short, I had a stroke. I had a small stroke. And thankfully, this was in the depths of COVID. So I got discharged very quickly. Thankfully, my deficits weren't very big, so I was able to like walk and talk and think. So I got discharged the same day, and it was interesting. So on the day that I had the stroke, I actually signed up for I Am Mastery Academy via one of Rex's presentations, because I started thinking about extra streams of income and taking care of my family. And when I had the stroke, I was like, I became determined to like, I've got to find a way of providing for my family that doesn't involve me exchanging my time for money. And I became aware that there's a whole way of thinking that I hadn't been privy to before. Like, you're a sci-fi nerd, right? So like Blade.
Yeah.
So when you watch the film, it becomes apparent that everyone's living their lives, not realizing that there's vampires everywhere, and then you get into the world of Blade, and literally everybody's a vampire, or like John Wick, like everybody's an assassin or whatever.
Yeah.
Or like even the Matrix, I felt like I was activated, and suddenly I was aware of a whole area of life and thinking that I hadn't been privy to before. So even what I'm saying in terms of exchanging time for money, that was language I didn't have prior to starting to walk down this journey. So I became, because having a stroke kind of helps you prioritize what's important. And for me, spending time with family and contributing to society is really important to me. So I realize that as much as I love my job, there is a degree to which there's a limit to how effective I can be on the grand scale doing this 9 to 5. So how can I affect people's lives, and how can I also make sure that my family is taken care of in a way that doesn't take me away from them?
Yeah. And so how do you find? How is that? What would your how would you summarize that journey from then to now?
Tumultuous. So I think I am. So obviously, I'm still on the journey, and I think the thing that's really important to me is to be like open and transparent. So I believe that there's a time coming to watch this space, watch this name. One day I'm going to be in a position where I'm able to work whenever I want. I'm not there yet. I'm working towards that. I think there's a sermon I heard years ago that really struck with me in terms of like the entrepreneurial journey, because a lot of us stop ourselves because it's like we're concerned about what if I get it wrong, and we have this big idea about what failure is. And this bishop said, if it's not the thing, it's the thing that leads to the thing. And I've had to learn that in terms of, okay, I'm going to try this, I'm going to try this, I'm going to try this, I'm going to try this. And what I have learned on the journey is that nothing is wasted. So some of the skills I learned, I tried to learn trading, and I was getting okay at it, but I got to the point where I realized the level of time that is going to be required for me to be able to make a success of this is time that I don't have in isolation. It's going to come from, because it's a zero-sum game, it's going to come from other things in my life that I can't give up. So
yeah.
So I have nothing bad to say about I Am Mastery Academy. It wasn't the right fit for me. But actually, in I Am Mastery Academy, I met people like a good self. I developed the skill of public speaking. I developed my voice in terms of encouraging people. Master Builders was born out of that group. So it really helped me feel more confident in being able to see that I could offer something to the world, if that makes sense.
It makes complete sense, because so carry on. Yeah.
No, please carry on.
So I couldn't agree more, and that's one of the nuggets that I've taken from my own personal journey over the last few years, because I was in IM, I've done various other things, and I started to realize that you literally cannot be an entrepreneur, or your journey to becoming a successful entrepreneur can't take place without self-development. It just cannot happen.
Absolutely.
You have to, this is very much overused phrase. You have to be coachable and adaptable in order to make that journey possible. You cannot be the same person. You have to develop.
Absolutely.
So with what you said, so because of that, everything along that journey serves a purpose and helps you develop, and is not a waste.
Yeah.
So like you, I do not regret my time there either.
Yeah.
Because you build upon it, and also it's a bit like the more you're in this, as long as you're teachable,
Mm.
you learn to make, I would argue, quicker and better decisions.
Yeah.
So it's like, because I'll give you another example. My son's entrepreneurial, and I keep telling him to, for example, listen to the conversations that I'm privy to within the travel business, because it's universal.
Yes.
What he's trying to build is totally different, has nothing to do with it, but the skill set is universal.
Absolutely.
So yeah, so what you said there, it definitely resonates with me. Yeah.
One of my online coaches is Myron Golden, and he has this framework of be, do, have in terms of success.
Yeah.
So the thing that I find really interesting is that, so a lot of the coaches and people online and trying to get you to, we understand that I'm going to have to do something to have something. You know, I mean, some people would like to have something without doing anything, but most of us have got to the stage where I realize that the input of have is do. But we haven't spent a lot of time realizing that the input of do is be. So how many of us start down a road and we try and do something, and either it's self-sabotage or fear of failure or fear of success, and the things that we are doing inconsistently on. There's all of this waxing and waning and stuff because we haven't spent the time becoming the person. And in his words, it says, if you work on the do, you'll get a case of the I can't help it. You know, so once you become the person, then the doing becomes inevitable, and then the input of do is be, and the output of be is do, but the input of have is do, and the output of do is have. So it's a case of how do I. So you're absolutely right. From a personal development point of view, I have to spend the time working on myself, training myself, loving myself, you know, working on discipline and stuff, because I will look like the same person, but I won't be the same person. And because the person, because if another thing he said is that everybody is doing 100% all they can do right now. So if you want more than you have right now, what you have to do is become a different person. And that was scary for me, because, you know, I was like, oh, you know, will I still be me if I then become a different person? But as I've done the personal development and started going down that journey, I've realized essentially I'm becoming a better version of myself. For those of us who have, you know, a Christian faith, I believe that there's, you know, when God says to Adam, be fruitful and multiply, we hear that and we think, oh, kids and this and that. But my understanding of the literal translation of it in the Hebrew is, God said to Adam, Adam, become, almost like become yourself. And isn't that the journey of life? You know, so I'm becoming me. If that makes any, if that makes sense, I'm born with the seed version of me, and to be able to get where I need to get to, I'm now working on it so I can become the full version of myself, in the same way that the acorn is the oak tree. It just needs to develop.
Yeah. No, that's definitely very interesting. So, so where are you now? You mentioned, because I had to ask for your IG name, because I think you've changed it. I couldn't find you. I
have a few IG personas. So in terms of like the thing I'm doing now, it's Master Builder 2022. Yeah. Obviously, I had my own personal page, and I started off. So after the stroke, one of the things that I felt compelled to do was start having conversations with, you know, the Black community about the intersection between faith and health. Because as a doctor, I found it interesting that a lot of us don't have great health-seeking behaviors, and when you track outcomes by race, often Black people fare worse. So I felt, well, who better than somebody who looks like me, who is a pastor's son, to have these conversations, because some of the things that we're doing and things that we believe in aren't helping us, specifically in the context of health. I'll pray about it. That's good. Do pray about it, but maybe you should stop eating Yeah, as well. Maybe you should go for a walk. Maybe you should drink some water. Maybe
Yeah.
you should have some fresh fruit and veg. All of these things are because I think that this is how we really work out the practicalities of the things that we have in our heads. There is so much theory out there, and one of the things that is a big deal for me, because I think I'm a teacher at heart, I want to be able to hear a truth and then translate it to see, okay, well, how does that translate to my everyday? How do I work out the self-confidence formula? On that kind of stuff on day to day.
Okay, that's fascinating. Yeah. Okay. So, and how long have you been under that persona? If you see what I mean.
Yeah, so the first thing I did was young black Christian doctor. I've still got that on IG. I'm thinking about revamping it, and that was on YouTube as well. And Master Builders, I think, was probably 2021.
Yeah.
So about 2 years of focusing on stuff on there. But yeah, I mean, I think it's taken me some time as well to develop traction because I had my own analysis paralysis. And I've been speaking to my brother about this because he's multi-hyphenated, and having the upbringing that we did. So my parents were pastors, so there's a degree to which a lot of the skills that we had weren't choices that we made. It was born out of necessity. So I can organize things, I can play instruments, I can deal with different kinds of people, I can communicate. All of these things weren't things that were like, I'm going to set out to do things. It was just necessity because the church was small and we didn't have a lot of manpower. But now I'm in a stage where I'm thinking, okay, so how do I affect my community? So it's trying to narrow down which one of these areas that I feel gifted at do I attack first? So that has been an issue for me, because it's like one of the big things is people talking about niching and specifically, let's say, in the coaching area. So from a little business tip for people is that if you make everything you're talking generic, then nobody feels like you're talking to them. So how can you narrow down the things that you're saying so you address a specific group? Because the smaller your group, the more effective your message to that group, and the more likely you're going to have engagement. So that's been an issue for me, because I just feel like, okay, so I'm black. So is it black men? Yeah, I'm a doctor. Is it black doctors? I'm a Christian. Is it like, so trying to like narrow that down? But again, I think I take solace in what we said before. If it's not the thing, it's the thing that leads to the thing. So like, I'm trying to give myself some grace and just continue to put myself out there.
So linking to that as a final question before I release you. So what vision do you have of your journey in 5 years from now?
Good question. So I think from my point of view, my primary thing is contributing. I want to have an impact in our community, in our society, because I do think that there is, just like I feel like I've been switched on. In some ways, I feel like I was Neo, now I'm trying to be Morpheus, and switch other people back on, even just from a mindset point of view, because for me to be saying these things, doing these things, I had to think about how I changed how I thought. I want to, in 5 years' time, I want to be, if I'm working as a doctor, I want to be working less than full time, and I want to be able to live anywhere I want to live because of what we've been able to do financially. But the biggest thing for me is impact.
Yeah. Oh no, that's good to hear. And thanks for that. And I most certainly appreciate your time. And
thank you.
If you need, thank you. And if you need any advice regarding being able to be located wherever you like, you know where to come.
I'll give you a call. No problem.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed this. So yeah, we should do this again, actually. So
yeah. We'll have a long conversation about the journey to medicine. It's interesting, and you can tell me more about the travel business.
Yeah, no, definitely will. Yeah, no, thank you for coming. Really appreciate that. Anyway, hope you enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you too, sir.
Yeah, okay. Take care of
All right.
yourselves, and I'll see you soon.
See you later.
Take care.